Hi everybody, welcome back to a tutorial using the Citation Longitude BizJet. In real life I fly the shorter sister version, the Latitude 680. Very similar aircraft, just smaller and a little bit less powerful certainly, but interior-wise and system-wise identical. And I've learned the real aircraft, which helps me learn the Citation Longitude model in both FS24 and FS2020. And today I wanted to give you a demo on how to fly the jet on a realistic flight, a short flight, but get a little more detail into programming and such. Now I'm sitting at 07FA, Ocean Reef, Florida, south of Miami, a little private enclave for the rich and famous, but I have been here in real life several times. It's a really neat, fairly short airstrip. Find out the dimensions of it here in 1 second so I can be more accurate. We'll just do a quick flight today around the traffic pattern here, but with a little bit more programming than we normally do. I'm going to look up this little airport right now for you, Paul. 07FA is 4,400 feet long. In the background, you can hear some babbling sounds. It sounds like the radio. That is an ATC program I really like. And on my desktop, it's called FS2020 Chatter. Highly recommend it. It just runs. You can select all kinds of different broadcast, Unicom, approach, center, everything randomly, and all different dialects around the world. It's not connected to anything. It's just a lot of nice background sound and noise, and I really do love it. Very realistic add-on to have that gibberish constantly going like we have in the real cockpit. You've got to learn to get through it all and listen and talk around it. So I do have it running in the background quietly. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but it is realistic. Anyway, to take the longitude around the pattern here, we've got to do several things. The aircraft is up and running with engines running, as you can see. I'm not going to get into all the pre-start checks yet, but I will get into the rest of the stuff to take your airplane up and around in case you aren't really sure what to do with this thing, which I wasn't in the beginning either with the Garmin 5000. Just want to check one thing here. Okay, and anyway, let's get started here. So initialization of the radio, of the touchscreen GTC Garmin touchscreen system is necessary. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Actually, I am going to dim the sound here. Let's just try this because I am annoyed by it actually. So there it goes. ATC chatter off for now. It's just like turning the radio down. Anyway, we need to get started here. This aircraft needs to be initialized with some things under utilities, weight and fuel. You start with an empty weight, and crew and stores weight at 400 pounds. That's fine. You can edit that if you want, but we'll just go with that. 2 passengers, no cargo, so it's a 0 fuel weight. We're not too heavy. Takeoff, we're going to sink the fuel though. That's really nice to do. Shows up as 7,000 pounds, which matches exactly what you have right here. Perfect. When you go to landing phase, you could put an estimated landing weight. I'm not going to do that right now. And that's just kind of it for the moment. You're going to go back over here again, and we want to get a flight plan in. Adding an origin is so easy in the Garmin 5000. You just hit add origin and go to the hourglass, and it'll pick up all the airports you're close to. So just tap on the closest one, because that's the one you're at, 07FA. En route waypoint isn't necessary. This is a tiny trip. Add destination, we're going to come right back here again, so find it and put in 07FA again. There we go. And up on the screen, we'll see it there to there. We'll get a direct to it in a moment. We can do it a procedure. Let's see if there's any procedures on the approach here. Just a visual 5 or a visual 2-3. We'll do the visual 5 today, and we'll do straight in visual 5. And we can zoom out. And we're going to hit load. Load right now. I won't hit load. That's okay. And there it goes. It starts to populate on the screen. We'll go to full. This little full screen will take the map and make it large, and then to zoom out you have to use this. So to this I'll zoom out a little bit more and use the mouse, which I hate, but it's all we got. It'll show straight into 5. So that's good. All right, so our route is all set. Let's go back here and try to get some numbers in for performance for takeoff data. It's the origin 07FA runway 5. When you click on it, it will show the distance and width. The weather is good. We use the ram air temperature. It's a cool, refreshing day out, and no METAR wind yet. I believe the winds are out of the 7 degrees at about 8 knots here right now. So that I put those in myself. Runway takeoff config is flaps 1. That's flaps 1 indicating 1. No anti-ice. Reversers are stowed or max reverse. Stowed for takeoff. I'm not really, actually don't know too much about that. Takeoff factors normal 1, rolling takeoff, no. And takeoff data, so it's going to populate at our takeoff weight of 31,255 and accept these numbers. And when you do, the little green light comes on and you'll be populated in there, showing 106, 111, 127, flaps up, clean speed 185. So that's it. Landing data, runway 5, weather, same thing, 7 degrees at about 8 knots. Temperature, 15 is close enough, and pressure, we had a live weather today, and the pressure's 3008. 3008 enter. Runway is 5 still, and landing config is full flaps. Curious about this one. I haven't even checked that in my Railer plan I fly, so we'll get back to that later. Landing data, except landing speed. So now we got that in there too. I don't know if that, usually you don't do landing speeds on the takeoff roll, but it worked. So it knows we're going to come right back. So let's go ahead and do that. We are ready there. The aircraft itself is ready. We're clear for takeoff by ourselves. It's a Unicom. Seatbelts are on, and pulse lights, let's just go with that for today. Landing lights is, I'll just do flashing lights outside right now. Turn those off, and pulse lights only. You can see the front landing lights are pulsing. Perfect. And the tropical vegetation shows this area, which is a very neat spot to be. All right, we're going to come around the traffic pattern here. We'll set up, about 2,000 feet in the climb to window here, and 200 knots is good enough. 200 knots is predicated on the FMS speed. If you want to use autothrottle, which I've just learned how to use in real life, it's very realistic. Do a fast check before takeoff, so it's flaps, air brakes, and trims. Trims are all set to about there. Trims and aileron rudder and speeds are loaded, so that's the fast check is complete. I use that for all jets. Alright, brakes are coming off. Park and brake is released. Tow brakes are on right now. And like I said, there's an auto throttle on, so I'm going to arm it. Arm the auto throttle. I'll get a takeoff and standby. When I bring the power levers up to a certain point, the auto throttle will take over, ram the power automatically up to the calculated takeoff position of the day, the RPM. And one, okay, here we go. Just talk all this through, and I'll keep the brakes held right now and to a little bit of power. Now I release them. I'm going to let the auto throttle take over. There it goes. I got takeoff, hold, and takeoff in green. Speed is alive. FS realistic rumble sounds. V1 rotate. Positive rate, gear up. This is a very powerful jet, like the Challenger 300 I used to fly in real life. Okay, we're climbing up, noise abatement climb. Actually, I'm going to just either raise the flaps up or give it a vertical speed mode, and your power will automatically reduce right here to climb thrust. And I just did by hitting VS vertical speed mode up here, and their speed is going to be capped at 200 knots using the auto throttle. And we are just blasting up so fast here, way out of my traffic pattern altitude. I'm going to lower the nose here and trim down a bit, and the speed is coming back all by itself. I do love the longitude in Flightsim 2020 far better than 24 because it doesn't get streamed. The graphics are beautiful. The aircraft just looks so much better. looks amazing, and I just love it so much more, especially with the ability to have good sounds. Flightsim 24 does not have any good sounds at all by default. Hey, we're on the downwind now of 07FA. I'd be just calling Ocean Reef traffic citation jet left downwind for runway 5. Now you can see it on the screen here. There's our, we can activate vectors to final by going to the home screen, flight plan, and procedures, visual, and activate, and there we go. And it's just going to give us a nice straight in line to follow if we want it for reference. This aircraft has a very high flaps 1 speed of 250 knots, the same as a Boeing 737. So let's do that. Flaps 1 coming in. Here it is, in the trailing edge. A little bit of turbulence here. The winds are not much, but there's some turbulence getting mixed into the air down here. Now my next notch of flaps is going to automatically bring the speed down to the next level, constraint. So I'll add one more notch of flaps, and that should bring the speed down to 160, which is a next flap limit, and also a good speed for base leg. I'm going to turn my base leg now. And we are down when we should get the gear down as well, so we'll just throw the gear. There's a gear rumble coming on through FS Realistic also. Now, very important to always look at your flight path vector. It shows me sinking below the horizon a little bit right there. Definitely want to keep that in mind. That's one of the most useful tools of anything I've ever flown in real life as well. It's going to be hard to see this little airport over there. We're pretty far away now, but I'll use my map over here as a reference as well. Almost turning the final. If I just have nav mode in, it will guide me, so I'm going to put in nav. There we go. Pretty good there. Now I have a better reference. And last notch of flaps, because I want to get that auto throttle to slow me down. And it's predicated 140 knots now, which in my mind is uncomfortably fast. My ref is a lot lower, so I'm just going to bring the power to idle and kill the auto throttle completely, as I would in real life. Kill the flight director as well, because I'm just hand flying it in. Referencing the map, it looks like I'm aligned pretty well, even though I can't see the runway yet myself with my own eyes. Still searching. And anyway, power back up to hold my ref speed of about 120-ish. Looking for the runway. There it is. I'll zoom in so you can see it out there. There, right there. Makes me nervous when I can't see the runway yet on a final, but I can. There's a lot of clutter around it, houses and trees and whatnot. Power up to hold ref. I gotta do that. Getting sloppy. This airplane is very automated, and if you get too slow, it'll automatically ram the power up for you to climb thrust. And it's well modeled in the Flightsim as well. Short final, once we touch down, the spoilers will automatically deploy in this aircraft. I'll just go to reverse, full reverse thrust for stopping. Won't be much of an issue. You can see the flight path vector showing me above the runway now, so I'm a little bit too much on the aiming point, thrust and such. What are the winds? 7 knots ahead. Alright, now we're going way too fast, so I've got to slow down here. Power to idle. Flight path vector over the threshold, my landing point. A little bit fast still. Oof, the trees and all. Roll burble. Power to idle. Idle thrust. Let her land. Nose up. There we go. Plunk. Good touchdown. Spoilers are out. And reverse. Dang. 260. I've got to say, it's very hard to record a video, have one hand on the throttle, and move around. I'm not at a Flightsim setup. I'm in a hotel room with my portable equipment, so now I've got to get that wing looked at. Not the result I wanted, but sometimes it happens when you're trying to do all this stuff. Anyway, welcome to 07FA, Ocean Reef Club Airport. And I've been here. This is really this tight. There's almost no parking. It's pretty precarious. Turn around at the end of the runway. Anyway, FATS check in reverse, so it's flaps, air brakes, trims. Flaps coming up. Air brakes will be stowed. Make sure they are. They are. And trims back to normal, which this airplane not too far out of whack. I'm just going to run the trim back up to normal before I run off the runway here. And look down and put my trim back to normal spot. There it is. And taxi back over into the parking area. Anyway, we'll just stop here for now. I'm not going to teach you how to park a jet. You should probably already know that. Park and brake on. And that's it. That concludes this quick lesson. Hope you enjoyed that. And we'll do more coming up. Thanks.